Hello and welcome to Kelly's Wordy Reactions. So today, it's having to do with a content creator that I'm very familiar with. I'm gonna go ahead and just get into the reporting of it. I don't really know what I think about it just yet. Um, yeah, it's probably going to develop as I get more into listening to um, the narrative of this particular um, story or what this particular person has to say. But nevertheless, this is what we have. So there's a content creator by the name of Larry Reid Live, which you've already seen in the header of this video. And Larry Reid Live, from my understanding, I've actually known of him for um, a very long time. I think I've watched his show here on YouTube off and on since he came on to YouTube. I really do think, probably not right at the beginning, but um, I definitely knew of him before the pandemic. Um, and I looked at his documentary about his family. He was doing a reality show for a while. And but I think the thing he's most well known for is the call out of different people in the church community, different pastors and other types of ministers within the church community when there is some sort of wrong that has been suffered by someone. And usually Larry Reid is known for coming in after things have become public. He always says that, and that seems to be something that does hold true for him. He comes in and gives his basically commentary on things after things have become public. And so he always does say that he may know about a lot of things before they actually do become public, because he has pastored for years. He is, I believe, an award-winning gospel artist. I think he's certainly a gospel artist. But yeah, he says that he knows about a lot of things that he does not make public. He waits until things become public on their own accord, and then he will talk about them. He will give his commentary. A lot of times he will give his advice through his commentary on what things he feels people should do about what's being said or what's coming public. And that's what he does. Most recently, he's been very closely connected to the TD Jakes and Manasseh Jordan situation, calling out grooming and such things in the church. So so that's Larry Reid Live. That's a little bit about his platform and what he's known for, I would say. Now, this gentleman that is calling him out right now, basically as we speak, he said that he was going to do the one video. Then he did another video that was a Q&A. And now he says there will be an interview. He's going to pick a very integral interview platform to do his interview with. And then he said that's going to be it. So so that's that on that. His name is Terrill Hill. And what we're going to do right now is just look at what he is claiming and stating and all of that with regard to Larry Reid and the Larry Reid Live show. He says that he's actually responsible for creating Larry Reid Live as the show. I know for sure that he had a lot to do with the production of Larry Reid's reality show when it was being published. So I do remember this gentleman, and his nickname was Buddha. And I do believe that they called him by his name sometimes, but I know Larry specifically, I remember him calling him Buddha and saying, you know, some things about how he got that name. If you look at Larry Reid Live, you know, he's kind of known for giving people close in his circle their nicknames. He's got Nachi, he's got Mako, and these are not their names. These are names that he gave them. Of course, there was Buddha. I can't think of anybody else right now, but it does seem to be his way to have, you know, the people in his inner circle, they have their nicknames. So so this V. Terrill Hill, he had a lot to do with the production of, he says, the Larry Reid Live show as a whole entity, I guess, and then the documentary that Larry Reid produced about his life. He also had a reality show that had couple seasons and several episodes there for a little while. So yeah, so this gentleman makes a lot of claims that are, you know, they just don't seem to pit Larry Reid in the best light. He talks about the way that Larry Reid makes his money. This V. Terrill Hill talks about wanting to give his supporters a more fair understanding as to where their support dollars actually go and what he's actually doing with their support. So let me, before I give any opinion, like I said, I don't know that I have an opinion about this at this point, because, you know, it's just come to my attention. Like I said, I have looked at Larry Reid Live off and on for a long time. I would not necessarily, he calls his community LRLers. I would not necessarily say that I've ever thought of myself as an LRLer per se. Having a problem getting this like I want it. There was a time that I joined his Patreon briefly. And to be quite honest with you, I was in there and I just like, I don't know if it was when I was in there, the particular like month or two that I was in there, you know, I can't say what they're doing all the time. Is this what I'm looking for? Yeah, I can't say what they're doing all the time. You know, I am not here to slander anything that he has going on at all. Just what I will say is I was in his Patreon for at least 2 months. And I did not get the value that he spoke about. So I went ahead and discontinued my membership in the Patreon. It could have been more than 2 months, but whatever it was, I went ahead and discontinued my membership in the Patreon because I wasn't getting that value that I signed up for. And you know, some of the things that I thought I would get by being a part of it, let me see, like investment, teaching on investing and advice, some I don't know if I want to say entrepreneurial type things, but it's been a long time ago. That was back there either in the um, in the beginning. I think it was really even before 2020. But if it was, it could have been right. No, you know what? It could have been 2020, 2021-ish, because there were a lot of prophecies coming through. The bishop, the bishop Bernard Jordan, and or prophet Bernard Jordan. I think it's both. Um, so there were just a lot of things that in my mind, I'm not saying it was necessarily promised to me, but in my mind, there were things that I was going to get out of being a member in the Patreon, that once I got in there, I just did not see it happening. I could not really justify what I was paying for. So I went ahead and cut it off. Um, so, like I said, I'm not really here to give my opinion, just to get into what this gentleman has to say. So, let's go ahead and get into looking at it.
Part series on spiritual abuse, I've gained a wealth of knowledge and a new perspective. But most of all, it's caused me to clearly see how silence is complicity. Thus, my silence, though serving me, has not served the masses. So, as the universe wills, I am presented an opportunity to come clean. Let me start by apologizing to all that have been affected by what I'm about to address, but suffered long because of my silence. I must also seize the moment to offer my apologies to one person in particular, Alisa Dunn. I know what it is to play a part in a network where victims were created. And to be honest with you, I didn't say anything at all. And it's one of my biggest regrets. It's the reason why I'm really doing this video. Specifically, there are two people that I carry in my heart because I should have spoke up and I didn't. And though I think it's too late to stir the waters now, I want to say to you two specifically, I am so sorry. It will be self-explanatory by the end of this episode why I needed to apologize to Hill. For some of you, you call me Elder Vincent Terrill Hill. I worked with Larry Reid from Larry Reid Live from 2003 to 2018. At that time, I was everything from a personal assistant, executive assistant. I traveled statewide and internationally. But most importantly, I am the creator and originator of the Larry Reid Live show. Throughout those 15 years, 13 years were spent in a sexual relationship with Larry Reid.
So right here, I'm going to lean back into sentiment because I don't remember the exact words that Larry has ever put this in, but he has said on his shows that he was abused as a child by males, and he has said that he did things that were not necessarily consensual by him. And so therefore, he knew the territory, but he has also made it very clear that he is attracted to women, that he is not attracted to men. He was married to his wife for several years. They have 2 daughters. And I don't know, I guess especially with regard to how he has called out certain things that have come up with men and other men in the church, I would say that this comes as a big surprise to me. Big surprise. And I think it's going to be a big shocker to a lot of other people as well, because like I said, even though if you look at this man's show for any length of time, you do know certain things about him that happened to him in his past, in his childhood and teen years. But he just gives the impression that those things are not anything that he's interested in uh, as a grown man, he has made it abundantly clear at some point anyway. Now, I don't watch him all the time. I don't know if he's changed or started saying something different, but in the past, I know that he's made it clear that he is, he likes women. He's attracted to women. He does not feel attracted to men, and just it's just that's again, that's the impression that I got. Can't just lean into specifics right now, but I'm pretty sure I could go back to, and he does have a lot of shows, so it would be pretty hard to go back and find specific shows where he said exactly what his orientation is. But I think, if there are any long time Larry Reid live watchers that you would agree with me, and this does come as a surprise, and then especially with regard to all of the other gentlemen in his inner circle, this is a shocker. It is. I mean, it's a shocker.
For a while, I believed I was the only one, or rather, the only man. However, Larry made me aware after our sexual relationship was over, I wasn't. I will disclose the other men in the church he's had some sort of sexual relationship with outside of me as we move forward. Most of what I say in this video is provable. Everything else I saw with my own eyes, or those directly connected to it told me. None of this is secondhand information.
You did take my comment on how many years in your ass. So it's my spirit is in you.
Yes. While he was married, pastoring, traveling the road, working with me on Larry Reid Live, we maintained an ongoing sexual relationship that, to my knowledge, only he, Shamako Bryant, and myself was aware of from 2005 to approximately 2017, when I cut off the sexual relationship. Shamako didn't like our relationship.
I know, but you love both of us, but which one decided him that didn't like our relationship?
More on Shamako later. Now, you may ask, where did I get these audio clips from? Late night on January the 15th, 2023, Larry drove to my house to have a conversation with me months after him and I stopped communicating, because he halted payment on an arrangement agreed upon for years of work I did during my 13 years of service with Larry, the Breakthrough Church, Breakthrough Temple, and all of the iterations thereof, including Larry Live. If you remember January the 15th, 2023, you may also remember Levontre Andrews. He was being interviewed by Tasha K, premiering in parts on YouTube, but in full on her website that same night. That night, he texted me out of nowhere wanting to talk and saying he will pay me my money that he owes me. Now, one might feel it was hush money. However, he attributed his desire to talk to a jury, and he felt led to text me and to me. Go ahead and air this out real quick. If honest, Levontre and Larry would corroborate this one thing. I had no idea Levontre had accused Larry of molesting him 2 years later. To this day, I haven't received a clear answer from Larry or anyone in Larry's camp why no one told me, when I was literally the guy that handled all of the, or most of the fires rather, in the church. When Larry finally told me what happened around 2017 or something like that, 16 or 17, approximately 16 or 17, it was a very super generic story that I believed Levontre was lying because I remember Levontre being a lying teenager in the church. So I just chucked it off and went on about my business. After leaving the Larry Reid Live community in 2018, someone prompted me, you need to go speak to Levontre. He feels like you helped Larry cover up his story. And I said, huh? So I reached out to Levontre just simply to let him know I didn't find out till many years later, only to realize that phone call brought me more than what I bargained for. Once Levontre gave me his side of the story, significant parts of it startled me because it mirrored the same sexual experiences I had with Larry Reid. See, Larry is a voyeur. He loves to see people naked. Daquan recounts a time that Larry purchased him new underwear and wanted to see him in the underwear. Levontre recounted a time where Larry asked him to clean up his room in his underwear. What Levontre didn't know up until now, and he still doesn't know, he's hearing this while you're hearing this, I knew he was telling the truth the whole time. Because I too was requested by Larry to do the exact same thing many a times. Although I wasn't there, I said to Larry, as it relates to Levontre, here's what I said to Larry. Either you did something to Levontre or you provided the inappropriate details of your bedroom fetishes to a young member in the church. Either way, you are dirty, dog, wrong.
One of the things that always bothers me about this Levontre is one thing and one thing only. When I talked to him back in 17, 18, he said something that was eerily similar to our experience. And I asked you about it, and you said that you told him some stuff, and yada, yada, yada. So in my mind, even if that was just that, there was already a line crossed. You think maybe you can just let him have this and just let him filter it out?
It's so interesting to see. Then what we're talking about in the past. Marco said, he said, I know y'all gonna be talking about other stuff. He said, but you need to ask me some and stuff like that. Get some good what to do.
But I don't think that would bode well in court, because that admission could be seen as, well, if he was having an improper relationship with the assistant, why couldn't he have an improper relationship with the drama? So that's a lie.
It shouldn't have happened. And I told Larry explicitly, leave that boy alone. Now let me go deeper. No abuser operates alone, right? He or she always has a network of people to help them be who and how they are, which is a monster. No abuser operates alone. There is always a network of people aiding and hiding their secrets and abetting in their schemes and dirty work. If you know you are or were a part of such a network, get out while you can. Shamako Bryant, though he appears nice, is not innocent. In my opinion, you know what's worse than someone who stabs you in the back? That same person who hides the knife and helps you clean the wound. Shamako and Larry were boyfriends before I even got in the picture in 2003. And in my opinion, still maintain some sort of romantic understanding or committed relationship. For those who were around in the church days, Mako moved out, and right after he moved out to his own apartment, I moved in to Larry's house. Mako did not like the fact that I was there because he knew Larry would eventually not keep his hands to himself, and he couldn't do anything about it. So guess who had to pay for it because he could not control Larry? I did. Shamako found out about Larry and I when I told him in 2005 during a ride back from Raleigh to Fayetteville. And here is how it happened. Prior to that, Mako and I, wanting to see each other naked, met at the then church musician's house, Antoine Shepard, while he was out of town. Mako, for whatever reason, had a key to Antoine's house. So we went there, stripped naked. We were young and dumb, giddy and childish, but hey, we did it. I thought it was a good time. We didn't touch each other at the time. We just saw each other naked. However, what I thought was Mako being fun and my friend, in reality was him fishing for information on whether or not Larry and I was having sex. He was willing to do anything to find out. And of course, I told it because at the time I didn't know any better. Mako, as late as 2021, is still the same way, sneaky and sexually deviant. Yes, we flirted. I'm not a superstar in this. He fondled me all the time, playing around, touching me in areas he shouldn't touch me. We've exchanged nudes. The Thursday before the Reformation experience in 2021, Mako masturbated in front of me on FaceTime whilst I watched. He asked me of my thoughts of a foursome between Larry, Kendall, Locklear, and myself. He said it was a fantasy of his. Well, I guess that's a fivesome or quadruplet or whatever, it's five. He even admitted by being caught by Nathan Locklear's now incarcerated son, Day, at a gay meetup spot off of Cheshire Bridge Road. Is Mako sweeter acting, portraying way more innocent in comparison to Larry Reid? Yes. But is he worse than Larry Reid, if you ask me? Absolutely. Now, I need to stop to say sorry to Latrice and Lisa. While at this time you both were being dogged by your ex-husbands for what y'all did or were doing, they did it first and literally continued to do it right up under your noses.
And he was going in like, only thing we got in common is X, Y, Z, and this, right, this. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. That's not a good look. And the way you try to say, I'm the queen of the family, that was degrading. It was disrespectful.
The reality is that their timeline makes no sense to me. When they say the relationship started and issues with Mako and Latrice's relationship, it's very strange. Because in my opinion, before we moved from North Carolina, this may not be true. But in my mind, they were already in a relationship under Mako's notes. So in my mind, I feel like they're not truthful, but they could be telling their truth. But from the outside looking in, it looks like you're grown enough to look back and see when this relationship started. Now, what you're telling us sounds good, but the reality is there was a connection, something drawn between y'all before then, because she was spending a lot of time over there. And even from a professional standpoint, Felicia brought a broken relationship with her daughters to our church to be fixed. And Latrice was supposedly one of the keys. That's why her and Felicia was connected. But when I began to notice something else going on, I told Latrice and Shamako in North Carolina a long time ago, I said, keep them at your house. I said, because there's something with lesbian that's connected to them. And I even put Felicia under that same, for lack of a better word, spirit, because that's how I was communicating then. It was you and another woman while you married. That should have never been. But it was, and that's okay. So when they tell this story like it's squeaky clean, I don't know who y'all want to believe that. I don't believe it.
Let's talk about Kendall. Kendall is the same, complicit and just as sexual promiscuous, allegedly. I've seen, Kendall, I've seen you with my own eyes nude. You sent a nude to Mako. Mako showed it to me. It was a side profile of you with your back arched and you're on all fours on your bed looking at the camera. I saw it. You know you took it. You didn't send it to me. How did Mako get it? Right. According to Mako, Kendall was caught sending his nudes all over Miami. When caught, Larry wouldn't fire him, according to what Mako told me, because Kendall knew too much. It was a liability to keep him and a liability to fire him. I told you this network is dirty, dark, and deviant. Nathan Locklear, I want to apologize for what I'm going to say next, but your business has been broadcasted to Mako, Kendall, and myself by, I guess at the time it was Apostle Reid, maybe it was Larry. He shared how you were the best sucker he's ever had or experienced. He also went as far as to share your nudes with us. They were still shots of a video. I guess you were in front of Larry naked on FaceTime where, well, Larry was recording and sent us the still shots. Now, those of you that are viewers, you may not recognize this, what I'm going to show you, but Nathan knows his body, and I'm sure Crystal does too.
In the original video, those pictures are there, but I chose to take them out.
Prophet Philip McFeeters, pastor of Life Changers World Worship Center, located in Louisville, Kentucky. According to Larry, Philip and him are also sexually active and emotionally entangled. Are you seeing this pattern? Why do I have a video of Prophet McFeeters drunk, stripping naked while entering a hotel room in Miami? Take a wild guess how I would get that video.
Now, I will say this takes making sure somebody got in safely to a whole nother level. I can see dropping someone off at home, making sure they got into the door okay, but making sure they go ahead and get all the way in bed, yeah, it's going to be a no for me.
I thought you had to pee. I'm gonna pee when I get home. Okay.
Now, honestly and sincerely, I would like to apologize to Philip and Nathan for them falling casualties in this messy web. But if I left them out of the extremes, the point of this video would be for naught. I could go on and on. Junior, the bodybuilder, the, I guess, security, the masseuse, another sexual partner of Larry, according to what Larry told me this past April 2023. Everyone in this picture are the ones I've just named.
Now, when he got to this part,
So if you want to know,
I couldn't help but to think about
Larry
Larry Reid's own saying,
some kind
community
of sexual
pain.
immoral relationship with, look at those in his inner circle. You ever wondered why Josh Merrills or Cameron Phillips are never invited on these trips? And if they're invited, they never seem to go?
There's some lagging in the video here, and I do apologize for that.
Days. It was men, it was the men right up under him, but those who was close to him. If you on the phone, men. Lisa, if you would have responded right the whole time, every time you were being gaslit for trying to break into his computer because you knew he was doing something wrong. It was Mako. It was Kendall. I was there. I saw it. He was doing it with me. He called you crazy. He talked about you. To this day, I've heard you make demeaning jokes about the time you lost your mind because you just knew he was cheating and you were never wrong. And I watched complicit as he made you look like a fool. And again, I say to you, I am so sorry. I am so sorry.
What I will break in and say with regard to this portion right here, you know, if this is all true, then, you know, my heart really, really goes out to Alisa because I have watched her in particular when they did the what was it, the reality style show, and I watched Alisa um, express on more than one occasion that she still loved Larry, that she still loved and loves. She still loved a man, okay? I watched her express on a more than one occasion that she still loves him and that she is still open. I don't know about right now. This was then. But they'd had a very long separation, and she came back into the fold. She came back to live in his house, not as anybody having a relationship with him, but just to mother her children from, so that they could all be together, mother, father, children, all in one same household. And so I watched her express how much she still loves him and still is open to having a relationship with him, as far as a romantic, relationship, and even maybe get back into a marriage with him, because they are very much technically divorced. So to, for this all to come to the forefront, and now for her to have to be confronted with this information, if this is not something that she's already aware of, we wouldn't know if someone has already made her aware of all these things. But if she's not totally and completely aware already, for this to come out and for her to now understand that this may very well have been going on around her, and no one ever bothered to let her in on the secret. And, there was so much turmoil in the marriage, apparently, behind this type of thing, what he's talking about. My heart just goes out to her. It really, really does. Because there has been a lot of, I feel like, now this is my opinion, because I have been, I've watched his platform enough to know that there has been a lot of shaming of Alisa and of how she went and got into a relationship with a woman, not necessarily shaming her for having that attraction, but as he put it, like he could just never get over the fact that she, the way she left him, and the way he was just all of a sudden on the outskirt of everything having to do with his children and things like that. Just, I don't know. I can't necessarily put all the words with it, but I can tell you the sentiment. The sentiment was that he was a victim of Alisa for a while there. The sentiment was that he was sort of blindsided and that he was done wrong. And so if what this man is saying is true, oh, it's just, it just gives a whole other side and sentiment to what happened. And I, only thing I can say is that my heart really goes out to Alisa. And, it is a really sad day when and if you have to realize that there's been so much playing in your face, so many lies, so much deception, right? So much deception and betrayal. So many people around you who were the absolute ops of you. Now, they might not have been, ops of everybody, but they were the ops of you they were definitely your enemies. You looked at them as friends. You looked at them as, people who were in your life that actually helped you and blessed you at the time. And really, they were people in your life, or potentially they were people in your life that were actually having a hand in on causing you to sort of lose your mind. And then they were also the people that were there to say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry you're losing your mind. Here, let me help you pick up the pieces. Let me help you with your children. I'll help you with this. I'll help you with that. Poor thing, you're losing it over there. And they were actually full in on deck, full well, sort of assisting in this behind the scenes betrayal that was assisting in you not knowing what to do or any other recourse but to just run away from this situation. And then them being the same people that were I don't know, rescue, they were the shooter and they were the rescue. How is that? So anyway, I just wanted to interject that. As a matter of fact, time has gotten away from me, and I'll just come back in with a part 2, and then that way I can go ahead and get this out to you all. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.